Talk Podcast, episode 29, I think. Mm-hmm. Right? And we have, once again, this is something that has never happened before in the whole entirety of the podcast existence. Not only did we get her for one time, we got her 2 times. We're going for a 3rd time. And we're going to kind of dive into her just a little bit, and we'll go ahead and dive into the podcast stuff as well. Robin Hill.
Hi. Yeah, I'm back. This time was very unexpected, but I was like, sure, why not? One thing that didn't happen in other episodes, I didn't really say much about myself. So, I'm just turned 27, celebrated my golden birthday this year. I am a inclusion aide at a middle school. I work with the special needs kids, so that's really fun. It's a different experience, but fun nevertheless. During the pandemic at the beginning, I was kind of like stuck in the house, bored in the house, and I'm in the house bored type of thing.
I don't get that reference because I'm like a little bit older, so I don't get it.
Bored in the house, and I'm in the house bored. That's it. But anyway, one of the things that happened during the pandemic, my sister was strongly encouraged. Well, I mean, she's done it my whole life, really, probably since out the womb. She encouraged me, to join her workouts and whatnot. And I was not a person who liked to work out in the form of working out. Like, I could play tennis, and that would disguise it being a workout for me. So that was like my thing growing up. I could do tennis, I could do volleyball. But during the pandemic, again, she was strongly encouraging me. And then another thing that happened, my niece started showing me episodes of My 600-Pound Life.
Yikes.
And it was like, okay, well, what we're not going to do is get out of this pandemic and end up on this show. So I started working out with my sister. Yeah, and then total since then, I've lost around 45 pounds. So I'm really big, not fully, but I like working out more so now. I'm not a runner by any means, but I like working out. Not a runner. Can't do that yet. But that leads me to my next venture. Over the summer, I became a brand ambassador for a brand called Simone Fitness Collection. So shout out to her. She started the brand around the pandemic time, and her purpose behind the brand was just to give women confidence no matter what they look like. So, which was me at the time. I think beforehand I was still kind of learning to love myself. Still might, learn a little bit. But I love what I'm seeing and what I'm becoming. So that was one of the things that I got into. And I love her fitness brand. It's so comfortable, so cute. So y'all go check her out on IG, Simone Fitness Collection. Use my discount code, Robin15. So yeah, that's just a little bit about myself. I like long walks on the beach. And,
What beach?
Yeah,
what beach is in Georgetown?
I've only been to a beach twice in my life, so I can't say that. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I know this episode might come out a little later than traditionally. I do try to get it out like maybe late Monday night or Tuesday, but Tuesdays is definitely the release date for most of the podcast episodes and stuff like that. But we've come across some unexpected just hurdles, and that's what's perfectly fine about doing this whole process is coming across those hurdles and knowing how to jump.
Yeah.
A lot of people come across these hurdles and just go through the little hurdle. But it's been a weird kind of transit. It's just been weird energy for like this month and the month before. So yeah, Brittany and Raven are not here today, but they're dealing with their own personal things, and we'll reconvene at a later date to kind of give you guys an update of what's happening. Some things are happening differently with me. My work schedule has changed. starting tomorrow. It was really quick. It's not something I really could plan for. It was just, hey, Monday you're doing something different. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So just things change that quickly. But I want to let everyone know who does listen to this podcast, like, it's still going. We're still working, and yeah, we'll get on the same page eventually. I just don't think we're on the same page right now, which is perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. It's okay not to be on the same page for a week or two. It's perfectly fine because everyone is living a life separate from each other. But you know, definitely shout out to Brittany, shout out to Raven. We'll get them back here, you know, as soon as possible. But once again, like, I don't want anyone to tank. It's because I don't want to tank, but I'm thinking. So, like, I don't want anyone to like have the idea of what happened the first time around, right? Yeah, it's crazy.
Everything's all peaches and cream.
Everything's good. I promise you guys. Kinda. I don't know.
We're good. I think, you know, I'm not always there, right? But, you know, we'll make it do what it do with who we got. That's why I'm here. Hello. Nice to see y'all again. Don't think I'll see y'all next week. Third time, 3 strikes and I'm out. Okay? That's it. That's all you get.
Man, the Halloween movies is trash. You know, like, I'm just kind of, I'm just so upset, right? The Halloween, god damn, like, they got me again. And I don't know if I paid. Did I pay for Peacock? I don't know. But if I do, I'm upset. They got me again.
You know what? Somebody else, I just looked at somebody's story on Instagram. They said the same thing. I gotta find her story
They
now.
got me again. Halloween has been going on for 40 years. And I can't opt out of the 40 years, even though this shit started before I was born. Like, I'm locked in. Like, what the fuck? Like, I knew the backstory from 1979 or 1978, whenever it first started, until now. I'm like, that got me again. Because he won't die.
That's what she said. She said, I got so mad at the end of Halloween Kills because why the fuck can't he die? I just knew he was dead, bro. I didn't blink watching that shit. I love scary movies. That's what she said on there.
They fucked him up. But they've done that before, though. So I don't know why I expected this to be the final one. But apparently there's going to be another movie out in the next year and a half. Because he, spoiler alert, he killed Lori's daughter.
Oh, wow.
He killed Lori's daughter. Lori was the original cast member for the first one. She was the teenage babysitter. Now she's the grandma. And they killed her direct daughter. So, yeah, there's some shit coming back out. I promise y'all. That shit, but still, I'm not going to watch it, but I'm going to watch it. I need to know. I need to know how to, like.
He said, I'm not going to watch it, but I'm going to watch it. Of course you are. They know what to do to keep y'all entertained. I don't watch Halloween movies like this. I've never watched them. I watched a piece of it. Like, no, I'm not. No.
They even brought the characters from the original movie back as adults. And I was so interested. I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to fuck. They all died. Sorry, guys. They're gone. They're out of here. They say they made it out once. They didn't make it out twice. So sorry.
Well.
Oh, man. But, yeah. Don't go watch it. But watch it. If you know what you're talking about.
How does that work?
If you're a Halloween fan, now we're going into October really soon. Like, if you're a Halloween fan, you have to. Like, you don't have a choice. Shit.
I was like, you were going in October pretty soon.
I mean, Halloween as in the date.
Oh, okay.
The 31st.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I was like, it is Halloween. It is October. There you go. They're already celebrating. It's decorations and everything outside.
Don't watch this movie unless you really know what happens. Unless you know the smoke. The 40-year smoke.
Are they going to want to watch it, though, now that you just spoiled it?
They should, because they want to see the smoke. Like, there is smoke. I'll be honest, like, Michael Myers might be white in y'all's mind. He black to me. Because he fucked up the whole town. Single-handedly. With skill. He not your. I'm just so upset with this movie, guys. I'm so sorry. He fucked up a lot of people single-handedly based off of some bullshit. She fell asleep.
I did. That's why I said I watched a piece of it. I fell asleep. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm not invested. Like, once the hospital scene happened, that's what lost me.
That shit was weird. Like your boy was like, "What the fuck is going on?
That lost me.
Why does it take them 45 minutes to walk upstairs?"
And then
sprinting with anger.
And then 30 seconds to get back down.
I can get up some stairs in about 10 minutes, honestly. Getting down might be different. But he got down in 5 minutes.
He got down to 30 seconds.
He was up there, dude jumped. Dude went back. He was like, yeah, I just want to make a difference. Just like, what the fuck?
What?
What difference did you make by accusing someone who's also still an inmate? I don't understand the structure of the movie. That's
what lost me, and I was like, yep, I'm good. I'm checked out. I'm good. So, sorry, I couldn't watch it anymore. Nope. No, what really lost me was the black girl whenever she got hit by the door and she shot herself.
Oh, that was tough because like I love my black women, right? She did not respect y'all enough to understand. In that moment, she didn't respect y'all at all. She was like, how close was she shooting at the door? Like, she was like 10 miles away. Not 10 miles away, but she was like 10 feet away, and then all of a sudden she's close enough for him to open the door. And how does Michael Myers know how to kick? Why is Michael Myers athletic? All he does is walk.
Toad.
He's a speed walker. You remember that speed walker movie that we watched with the what was it with the woman?
Oh, Queen Pins.
Yeah, she was a speed walker. Michael Myers was not that. He wasn't. He was not Olympian. He was not that at all. And the fact that he can get to point A to point B without running, Michael, if you're listening, tell me your secret.
No. In order for him to tell you, he gotta come. He can stay far the fuck away. No.
It's kind of like Candyman, right? Like, you have to kind of like invite him in before you like move forward. Like, you have to ask for him, like, to come in. You have to say his name 4, 5, 3. I don't know what the new movie is.
We're not gonna say it no more than twice. You already said it once. Don't say it again. We're done. Next topic. Next topic. We're done. Nope. Nope.
So there were some questions that I sent to you that people traditionally ask me. I don't really normally like answer them because when I do, every time I've ever answered any of these questions, it turns into like a fight. Like, I'm like, hey, people will be like, hey, how do we start a podcast? And I'll be like, this, and this. But I keep it really cordial, and then I'm like, let's set up a video review, or we can do something like that, and they never show up.
Well, here's your little tidbits if you want to listen. Okay, open your ears, listen up. Okay, the first question, which sounds like the third question to me, I'm not sure, but I'll just ask the first one. How did you start a podcast?
What was the third one that matches?
How did you get started podcasting?
I'll go with that second one.
Okay. How did you get started podcasting?
It's literally something I really wanted to do for a long time. So this is like something that started in 2019. Like into that 2020 year, I really wanted to like push forward this, right? I'm a student of learning. Like, I just want to see things. Like, and I do see a lot of things, but I don't like implement them.
Implement.
Say it.
Implement.
Yeah, what she said. So, there's just a lot of things that I wanted to get off, and also, people who have been avid listeners to this podcast heard. I think it was like early 2019. I got canceled allegedly.
I didn't see it, so.
Yeah, that's tough. Like, allegedly, I got called all these names and stuff like that. And I was just like, and I was responding to everybody, like, in real time. Like, what? Like, different angles. And I was just like, that's just not me. Like, I'm not that. Whatever you guys are saying is not that. I don't know if anyone remembers. Black women canceled me at some point, like, but that never happened. But there's still beef to this day with certain people that exist, and certain conversations have been had, but that doesn't mean that I was wrong or they were right. I just think, once again, I probably did it at the wrong time. I probably did it at like literally the wrong time, and I can't explain my position and still be at the wrong time. The wrong time is always gonna like cover all that, for sure. You didn't see it?
No, I didn't personally see it back then. But... No, wait, we gonna talk about something else after this. I just thought about something. Anyway, so yes, how'd you get started?
I just started. Like,
That's it.
I just did it. Like, and I did it the wrong way for a long time. Like, I did it the wrong way. So, I any person of those first 6 kind of like episodes, I try to highlight. Unfortunately, everyone within those 6 don't fuck with me now, but I still try to like bring them back on. So some of the greatest like expectations for me, or some of the greatest like moments for me, is having Sierra on here, is having Kay back, is having well, that's about it, guys. I only got 2 people out of 6.
Hey, look, we tried to get the other 4. Like, there's
Absolutely.
Look, I'm trying to see how they were feeling back then. I just want to get their perspective. So if you're listening, come back.
Absolutely.
Just come back.
I've tried to reach out to those, original 6, and it doesn't work that way. Like, I think everyone really wants to do great and be happy about doing great. A lot of times when you do great, you leave people behind. But you really want them to be a part of this process somehow, some way. Right? So this backdrop is a definition of just like different entities that have been involved with it, right? So we have Sierra's book, we have me and your like dope ass. What is this called?
This is a collage.
A collage. And my love for Manchester United. There's some basketball. There's just a little marquee thing that says the Can We Talk podcast. Like, there's just so much, and then always, all great things come with gratitude. Like, you just have to be that.
Yeah.
Right? And then also the studio. I don't think people understand what that actually looks like. Like, as far as like producing things, like just doing this consistently. And I also have the birthday letters from Raven and Brittany. Robbins is right over here with my workspace. That's like tape there. Like, that's something that motivates me on a daily basis, because you don't really get that kind of energy. A lot of people don't get that energy from individuals. Like, just say, hey, you did great. Like, you did that, and it means something. You hear it. It doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? So, and also the painting. My terrible painting over the sun, where you see the whole transitions of the light. Like, everything I was supposed to do, I did, but it just didn't.
It's okay. Okay, that was your first one. You know what? We're gonna have to run that back. It's been a year now. You feel me? I think it's about to be a year. It's been almost a year at this point. We gotta run that back.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I want to. I feel like that experience is like 101. If we do it again, I don't like. I would do it again, but there's no way we can do that again. Like, and replicate that experience. For
I'm not
both
saying
of us.
Replicate it, but
Just do it again.
Yeah, do it again and learn from what you did on that one. And
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been so long. I don't remember it.
look, I just think it's so much fun. I definitely, from my first one that I've painted to now, I think I've done 6 in the past 7 years or so. I think I started like 2014, 2015. You can tell the difference as far as like what you've learned. Yeah, what you've learned and what you implement onto the canvas. Like, definitely, it's definitely fun. People say they can't paint, but it's so much
I
fun.
told you I couldn't paint.
But
You
look
actually,
what you created.
you actually said it's like you like art, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, I like art. And can you do it? And I was like,
No, I said, how do you feel about painting? That's what I said. I will remember that for the rest of my life. I said, how do you feel about painting? And you were like, I don't know. Like, that was your response. You were like, I don't know.
because I didn't know like people take talent in certain like atmospheres and then try to translate it to other things. And your boy can't paint. Your boy can cook though.
That's fine. Then just take those artistic skills there and put them on a canvas. And you did that.
It sounds perfect.
You did it.
Barely.
I helped you with the tree, but you did it.
Barely.
The tree's not perfect either, though. But I think that's what makes it special.
Is that a tree?
It's a what is that tree? That palm tree. It's like, what is that tree called? Yeah. But you're not remembering the painting. That painting tells that exact night. Maybe for you. I don't know. For me, it does. I remember everything about that night.
Could you do it again? Like the first night.
The whole thing?
So without me, was that one of your go-tos now?
No.
That's
That
not
was
where
just
you, that's
fun.
not where you. Sure, I got the paints.
What?
I got the paints. I tried this with him. It worked. I bagged him with the paints. You not bagging niggas with the paints?
No. But I can use that now if you want me to. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that from now on. It all started with the canvases, and the rest is history. I'm saying that from now on.
That's it?
Yep, that's the one. That shit's smooth as hell. Oh my gosh. Let's get back to these questions. We got all the way off topic. Not doing that. Okay. So, what is the hardest thing about maintaining a podcast?
Exactly what we're doing. You know, I think there's some, further questions about like how this stuff started and stuff like that. Like, I don't know what I sent you, but these are traditional questions that I get from people. The hardest thing is, for me, it might be harder for other people, like in this situation, but like for me, it's just being exactly what you say you're going to be. And if I'm going to be the podcaster guy, I got to be the podcaster guy. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't get the opportunity to not be that. There's a lot of times where I want to just like shut down and be like done with it. But one thing I tell everyone is like, this podcast is going to go with or without whoever is available. Mm-hmm. Like, it's this podcast. I'll equate a podcast to a train, right? You can get off at any stop you want to, like literally any stop you want to, whether it be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, 12 hours. You can get off whenever you want. I'm the train. Like, the train's still gonna go through all those transitions, and people can't get off. Like, and I've got to a point right this, like in my life now, it's like, okay, like, but I'm still understanding about situations. Like, I never sit here and be like, Dan, put this over the podcast. Like, Dan, the storm's coming. Get here before. Like, let's go, and then get you guys out. Or you're dealing with family stuff. Fuck that. You're so obligated to be here. Like, I'm never like that.
Yeah.
I am so the opposite of that. Like, I'm like, all right, okay, cool. Let's reconvene. Let's have a conversation. Let's move forward. Yep. If it's raining or storming, like, okay. I don't love this podcast more than I love y'all's lives. So I don't ever give pushback to any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't give pushback to personal issues. No one's obligated to do this, and I appreciate the people who do this, but no one's obligated. The hardest part, 1,000%, it's just your focus. this is something you want to do. There's a lot of people want to have a podcast and they want to replicate the like the success of other podcasts that they listen to. Shout out to the Joe Budden podcast. Shout out to Brilliant Idiots.
Brilliant Idiots.
Brilliant Idiots.
Yeah.
What'd I say?
I don't know. It would just went all together.
Right now, you ain't
Sorry, I had to do it. Sorry.
just shout out to even Nori, the Drink Champs podcast. Like, I pay attention to different things on different scales. Not to say I can, like, they got millions of dollars to produce things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never thinking I'm going to be that with a podcast. What I can do is focus on the things I can focus on,
Yeah.
and I let that just work however it needs to work. You know.
Makes sense. But you gonna get there, so.
Facts. We'll be there.
Bags, big bags. Like,
It's just it is difficult. It's more difficult than I expected. I really expected it to be a simple conversation. Call that a day. Post. It's not that. It's just there's a lot involved, and I hope people understand that.
hopefully that helps out. I think there's one more. What advice would you give someone who is starting a podcast?
Just do, like, not only do the research, right? Like when I started, which is 2019, like, I didn't know what came with it. Like, I really just was like, a podcast is easy. Like, these women are just talking. And I'm just like, I can do that. So I propped up my phone. I brought me a little prop for my phone. And I started going. But then I started coming into problems that I never thought about. Like, shout out to Chloe Franklin. She is someone who I really, really respect at a high level. And hopefully we'll get her back here, or we'll go to Houston to go record with her. She was someone who came in second season, technically. And, you know, we ate, because the original podcast was, I'll tell that later, but she had came to record, and, you know, we did what we did, and she was really soft-spoken. Like, so soft-spoken that my phone couldn't pick her up. So, like, she was talking some real nigga shit. Yeah. And when I went back, and I was just like, fuck, I lost all that. Like, I lost all of that conversation. Not because, like, I could post it, but I didn't want to do her a disjustice. She's a graduate of TSU. She's just a real person. Yeah. And I lost all that conversation just because she just was... And I was like, you gotta speak louder. She was like, I can't. And at that point, I was like, all right, I'm not doing this right. So I opted into getting, like, some additional equipment. I think the first batch of equipment I spent on, it was like $550. I got a mixer, an amp for the mics and stuff like that. I spent that much money, and it didn't work for it didn't work for me. And I was upset. Like, is one of the questions about there's only 3 or 4? What did I send you? Yeah. What is it?
How did I start a podcast? How do I start a podcast? What is the hardest thing about maintaining a podcast? How did you get started podcasting? And what advice would you give someone who is starting a podcast?
Yeah, so, like, that at that point, like, it was just so difficult because I was dealing with people who really wanted to be a part of this process. Mm-hmm. You know, knowledge has been brought into me within the last, you know, I would say what I understand is, you know, shout out to Crystal. Like, I was really just tough on that situation. I don't know what's going on with her, and I didn't know at the time, but I was just so frustrated because I put so much money into the shit, you know. And it is difficult to figure out what equipment works for you, what set works for you. Like this whole backdrop itself, like it started from nothing. Like there was literally nothing on this wall. And, I didn't give credit to where credit was due. Crystal was the person who put this up. Mm-hmm. She put the Lost Studio up. Mm-hmm. And she made it make sense, like, what's the word? Geometrical?
Symmetrical?
Geometrical. like she did that. And, like, I didn't give her credit in those moments because of just the expectation at those points. And yeah, like this whole thing just like transformed quicker than I thought it would. And I really expected the original host that I had originally picked, which is Sierra Dotson, aka Vaughn Taylor, who her book sits here. I expected it to be that, and that was it. I didn't expect the changes. I didn't expect the financial constrictions that like recording a podcast is. Mm-hmm. Like you have to spend money. Like you don't get the opportunity to be like, I want to do this cheaply. And if you do it cheaply and it works, great. But I wasn't in that lane. Like I didn't get the opportunity to do this cheaply. And this podcast is what it is. Like it's just really difficult for me to express the importance because nobody within this process is going to understand it as much as I do, or are they going to care as much? Mm. So my number one advice for anybody who is starting a podcast is, if you're not the person who cares about it 1,000%, you find someone who does. Because you might strive or you might lose. But if you find someone who cares about it 1,000, 100%, they'll figure itself out.
Amen. Well,
go.
I don't have much to say. After that, I mean, sounds like a bumpy roller coaster, but a fun roller coaster nonetheless.
It is fun. Like it is fun to just like go through that process, like just to see what it looks like. Because once again, like people really think podcasting is super simple, super easy, but it is if you have the right team. But then also, it's not even with the right team. Like you have both parameters. Like Brittany and Raven are amazing, mm-hmm. right? They're very committal. Like they're here, right? But when things happen, podcast still has to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't take away from what they do and what
right.
they've done at this point. So I never want to sit here and say, the podcast is going to keep going without them. No, I'm always going to say the podcast is going to go when they're ready to come back.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, the podcast is difficult. It's not as fun and easy as I thought it was going to be. I was really just like, I'm just going to talk to people for a living. That's not how it works, guys. And those people who do ask me those questions and I don't respond in a sense that you may be receptive to, as far as like me saying, let's talk later. I can't type it out. I can never type out my experience when it comes to the podcast. And I won't. So it's not that I don't respond. It's not that I won't tell you guys. You guys just have to be just as committed as me. If I had someone just like me kind of advise me to start the podcast, I'd be so happy. I reached out to radio people. Like I reached out to people who do this for a living.
Yeah.
And you know what I got? I don't know how to do a podcast. All I know how to do is radio. I'm like, pretty damn close.
Yeah, if you think about it, like, I mean, from the outside looking in, it just looks like y'all got music breaks and commercials. Then y'all just talk. But, that's just me. I don't know nothing. I'm just, like I said, outside looking in. So, whatever.
Just saying. Like, I've reached out to a lot of people. And a lot of those people now have reached out to me and be like, damn, you doing it. I'm just like, you was doing it already. Like you couldn't like help. Like I reached out for a lot of help, and that's something that goes into why I move the way I do with conversation. It's like I asked a lot of people for help. Like I don't ever like me personally. Most people know me as the guy who plans things out, right? I reached out to a multitude of radio personalities in the city because I have connections, and people don't know that. But hey, that's your business, not mine. But I reached out to a lot of people.
Sorry. Share business, not mine. Sorry, keep going.
And like it didn't like no one gave me advice, and at that point I was just like, all right, I'm gonna have to study. So you're looking at countless hours of studying. You're looking at countless hours of trying to figure out, is the equipment going to work for you? You know, I'm on my third to second mixer now when it comes to this podcast. And that's probably a total of, you're looking at $1,500-$1,600 just on mixer equipment. Like, that alone. And half of it doesn't work for what I'm doing now, so it just sits there and I can't return it because it's way past 30 to 90 days. Yeah, those things eat at you, but like
Facebook Marketplace. Sorry, thinking buddy.
But you have to, like, if you really want to start a podcast, you really have to put in the work. Like, you really have to like understand the dynamics. It's not understand the conversation. So conversation is only 1/3 of the podcast. It's only 1/3. What is that noise? Do you hear it? Who cares? This is part of podcasting, guys. You're going to hear noises via your headphones that you don't really agree with, but I thought it was a balloon, like twirling, but it might be. Who knows? I turned off everything, I think, but whatever.
Sorry, guys. It's going to bother me. I didn't even hear it till you pointed it out. Keep talking.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do, and anyone who asks me like how it's done, like my only thing is just respect what you're asking, and it's also the same thing with food. Like I'll get into that a little bit later, but like just respect what you're asking. Don't ask a person who's doing something at a high level or a consistent level a simple question. Ask more in depth, and if you are going to ask that simple question, be willing to follow up. I'm not giving gems to people anymore. I used to give gems to people consistently. Like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. This is why you do it. This, and this. But I'm not doing that anymore. I'm done.
Sometimes you can't be nice anymore.
I'm right there with you.
Like, I feel like I was growing up the nice one who wanted to help anyone and everyone succeed, even if I wasn't at the time. Like, I'm still going to give you the knowledge that I have to possibly succeed with it. But people either take it for granted or they don't realize that they're asking for something that they're not ready to get into. So, just kind of gets annoying. Like, okay, I'm done talking. I'm wasting my breath at this point. So, you kind of have to learn that as you get older.
I mean, I'm older than you, so I like technically learned it before you.
I mean,
so.
I don't know what I go through on a daily basis. God. Whatever. God.
Yeah, I just like my final thought on that whole like ideal of being like doing a podcast and stuff like that is just be ready to like not be ready for it not to work. Like something I've heard from someone that I don't fuck with at this point, but hopefully once again, Presley, you do reach out to me and we do talk. Just have a first. Whatever you do, have a first. Like whether you're scared, upset, or not ready, or you feel you're not ready, have a first. Every person's first podcast episode is going to be trash. Every person's first whatever is traditionally going to be trash. And it should be, right? Because you should be getting better every time, right? Episode 1 should not even be close to episode 30. Episode 1 should be not even close to episode 50. Just have one. If you have one, then you can kind of critique yourself and try to figure out what you need to do more. I think that's something that's happening with me personally in the creation stage is True Foodies. Like that, like me, like I really want to put stuff out, but like I know that this is going to be so much better and so much bigger than I even expected. I really expect True Foodies to be like that shit because we're going places that the average Central Texan doesn't know about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I really think that like the way I think about those episodes is just like really different, and I'm trying to focus on like seeing how I want to put them together and things like that, names, logos. Like True Foodies is coming out, guys. Like that's why I set that such a far away date of like December, because I'm just like there's so much stuff that we have to figure out before that even starts to launch. Versus the podcast, I just drop that shit in 6 episodes, you know?
Yeah. But as far as like having a first, like I even felt that as far as like one of the things that happened as far as like me working out and everything last year, I think this time last year, maybe even a year ago, my sister was getting, hit up as far as like people were asking her to post her routines and things like that. So she started recording herself. And then she encouraged me to, hey, you should start recording your workouts too. I was like, I'm not camera ready to be posting these workouts with these 5-pound weights and things like that. 5-8 pounds. I wasn't doing much back then. But just having that first, like I think I looked at that video I think like a week ago, and it's like, whoa, like it's kind of like an outer body experience, just seeing where you started and seeing how much you've grown from that and how much you can show how different it is, I guess, now. But yeah, having a first is, it's important. You're gonna look at it later on and be like, damn, what the fuck were you thinking back then? But it's important to see where you started from. Like it's very important.
Yeah, like you're like once again, you're gonna suck. Like no one ever comes up on a first anything unless you're like a superstar and it just pops off for you, right?
Of course.
No one's gonna do a first anything and it's gonna be like perfect.
Yeah.
I think we expect perfect on our first try, and something that I had no idea what I was doing at the time. Like I literally had my phone in front of me, and it was a 7-minute episode, but it was a 40-minute recording. And because I thought I was doing something, I was like, damn, I don't want her to say that in public. Like I cut it down so much that it was 7 minutes. And now I'm like, yo, say what the fuck you want. I don't give a fuck. If you say it, you say it. Like,
Yep.
That's up to you. And I always tell people that too. Anytime they come on the podcast, like, hey, anything you say is it's going to be out there in the universe. So if you don't want to say it, don't say it. If you want to say it. That's up to you.
I love hearing people come and they're like, can I cuss? It's like the first question I hear every time. Do I have to reframe that? No. Be yourself. What? If that's you, that's you.
And that's another base of like this structure when it comes to the podcast.